everybody, Peppermint here, and welcome back to another episode of the Anomaly. Last time, uh, things started getting really serious. We heard the hum, and then we saw a strange figure in our room. So I am so curious to see what's gonna happen this episode. So let's just start playing right now. I really needed to get my mind off of everything that had happened, so I wandered back to my room and put on a movie in the hopes of distracting myself from everything that was going on. It didn't work at all. I found myself back in the pit of hum theories. It was all starting to look the same, and I was getting a strong sense of deja vu. I soon realized that I was reading forum postings that I had already read a few hours ago in the early morning. We're losing our mind. It was while I was making myself a bit of a late lunch that my phone let out a buzz, startling me. Ross, stay the night at my place tonight. Given how shook you are, there's no way you're gonna be able to sleep on your own there tonight. Thanks, I'll come around a little later. Good guy, Ross. Bring your stuff just in case. You got it. I set my phone down and pulled my pizza slices out from the microwave. Good job, Tucker, actually heating up your pizza this time. I hadn't even considered how tonight would go on my own. Probably just about as well as Ross thought it would. I hadn't felt quite comfortable in my room since the night before. I kept looking over my shoulder to the spot where someone had seemed to be, like they would suddenly be there. I was pretty lucky that I had someone like Ross to watch my back. There's no way I would sleep in my room if I had saw like a figure that I thought was a person. I would literally just pack all my stuff and move to a new house. I waited until a few hours after school had ended to start making my way over towards Ross's place, backpack full of all of my transportable computer gear and the bare essentials to stay the night with someone. It was easy to get settled in once I was there, given how much time I had spent at Ross's place over the years. It was a little uncomfortable though, since I could tell that Ross was doing everything that he could to deliberately avoid the subject of the hum and everything that had happened. I couldn't blame him though. The whole reason I had come over for the night was to get away from having to think about that when it had freaked me out so much in my own home. We were just about to start a movie when my phone buzzed. I snatched it up from the nearby desk in mild confusion over who would be texting me so late. Val. Hey, I'm sorry about not believing you over all that stuff that happened. I've just been kind of freaked out too, you know. The whole hardware store thing messed with my head for a while, and I was just starting to sort of get over it when he dropped all this on us. I'll help you out though. I think I want to get to the bottom of all this just as much as you do. I raised a brow at the message before holding my phone out to Ross so he could see it. Ask her if she's by her computer. I did as I was told, waiting for a response while Ross moved over to his desk and started doing something at his own computer. She says, when am I not? Tell her that we're going to do a group call. Way easier than just texting back and forth. You're right, I'll tell her now. It took only a few moments for us to get the call connected, though I had to admit it was a little strange to be calling someone just to talk rather than texting. So you've experienced all this too? Not all of it, just the time at the hardware store. I thought I must be going nuts or something. It had me on edge for a while. Are you telling me you guys didn't experience it too? I think everyone experienced the power outage. It seems like you were the only one that hasn't said anything about a noise, though. I have family in the Midwest, and last time we visited them, they had this siren for tornadoes. It got tested like every week. When I heard it, it sounded kind of like what you guys are talking about. Loud noise that you don't know where it's coming from and just keeps going. Could it be that? I saw some people saying it might have been one of those when I was looking into the hum online. It can't be, though. I've never heard one go off around here, and you'd think they would at least test them if we had them. I looked up a sound clip anyway. It sounds different. I grabbed my laptop and quickly pulled up a video of a tornado siren, playing it for the both of them. It's long, and it just keeps going until it stops, but this is too high-pitched. The hum is a lot lower down, like... I tried to mimic the sound for the both of them, but it was hard to. I had only personally heard it once after all. I just ended up humming lowly. So it sounds like humming? But not human humming. It's like that, but different. And it sounded kind of like it was really far away. But it doesn't sound like a machine either, so I don't really know exactly what could be making it. The universe itself? Whoa, okay, now we're getting deep. I highly doubt that. There has to be some sort of a cause. What do people think it is? Like, the people who have talked about this online and all. A lot of different stuff, because nobody has a real answer. Aliens, satellites, government experimentation. And none of that really sounds real. It's not like we live by Area 51 or anything like that. Are you telling me that aliens aren't involved? But Val, the truth is out there. You could almost hear Valerie cringe on the other end of the call. Not helping. It's not like we can find out what this is until it happens again anyway. It's weird that it's happened this many times after never happening at all. Yeah, you and I have both heard it at least. And with Garrett, that makes 3 of us that we know of within the past 2 weeks. We don't have any way of knowing how many other people have heard it and not said anything either. It's bound to happen again. At that point, it had better be my turn because I sure don't want to be left out of this magical spirit experience you guys have had. You really don't. This stuff is all kind of messed up, and I don't know what I saw. From what Garrett said, it almost sounded like he had some really freaky hallucinations. And with the whole lost time thing, we don't know how dangerous it is to get caught up in this. Hell, the signs and whatever could just keep getting worse. When it happened with me, it was just a blackout, but Tucker saw a person. I think I did. I don't really know what I saw. Oh, I completely forgot. So, when I was making my thumbnail for last episode, I brightened the picture a little because my thumbnail was of the picture of the creepy figure in the background. And it had eyes, like scary, glowy eyes. I'm pretty sure it gave me nightmares. Because, like, you couldn't even see the eyeballs until you brightened the picture. Yeah, it creeped me the hell out. I'll just say that much. We spent a while longer discussing the possibilities of what exactly could be causing the hum, but for every reason we thought of, there seemed to be at least 3 things that disproved the idea. We did even scratch the surface of the ideas we came up with that sounded like they were straight out of a sci-fi novel when we were at a complete loss of anything else to pitch. We signed off with Val once it had started getting late. It was clear we were getting absolutely nowhere. I slumped back against the side of Ross's bed and pulled my laptop into my lap, opening it up and logging on. My fingers were itching to do something. Hack, research, anything at all to get closer to an answer. But it felt like whatever I did had no point at all to it. I was at a loss. Ross shoved my shoulder a little as he shut down his equipment and flopped down onto the bed behind me. Hey, this stuff is all super cool and all, but do you think we're ever going to figure out what it is? I don't know. It's not like we have anything to go off of. I mean... I cut myself off and frowned as I noticed an email notification for a new message from an unknown sender. That's weird. Normally, the filters on my email would have caught something like that. I opened it up and was greeted with long strings of numbers, letters, and characters that didn't seem to add up to anything at all. A jumbled mess that looked like a toddler had just slammed their hands repeatedly into a keyboard. What's that? No idea. Ross leaned in over my shoulder and reached out to adjust my screen so that he could see it a little better. Are we cuddling right now? Like, I know that's completely unrelated to what's happening, but I'm just trying to imagine how we're laying, and I feel like we're spooning. But maybe that's just me being weird. It looks like something that's been encrypted. Do you think that we could decrypt it? I don't know. It doesn't look like something as simple as a text conversion, but it's hard to tell just by looking. There are a few things that we could try, though. Hold on. Ross tumbled out of bed and made his way over to his computer. After fiddling around for a while, he came back with a USB drive in his hand, which he tossed to me. He was laid out lazily on his bed again a moment later, as though he had not gotten up at all in the first place. I put a few basic conversion tools on there. You should be able to just put that message in. If it's been coded with a specific algorithm, it'll decode it for you. Well, that was certainly a nifty little tool. I would have to get proper copies of these for myself at some point. They could come in handy after all. I opened up the drive and started toying with the goodies that I found inside, putting the text from the message in each of the small programs to see if anything at all would come of it. Base 64 was a bust. Converting it to ASCII? I mean, I know I've heard of that before, but I've never said it out loud, so I don't know how to say it. Sha1? ASHA1? We even tried Caesar Cipher, but nothing came of it. Each of the different methods that we were able to quickly test out failed to produce anything other than another mess of jumbled up mess. We even tried taking the text from one program to another, seeing if it had been put through more than one of the methods. Every combination we tried failed. This is ridiculous. Nothing's working. It could be based off a homemade key. Why send it to me then? I wouldn't send something to you if there was no way you were going to be able to decode it, even if I might make it hard on you. To frustrate you? Besides, you don't know what it even is or who it's from. We should see if we can even trace where it came. It could give us a clue on how to crack it. I nodded. It made sense. We had no idea who this was even from, or if there was anything harmful mixed up in the encryption. There wasn't exactly anyone we knew who would send us something like this anyway. I set about running a trace on the message, thankful to have Ross there to help me out. I didn't forward the message to him, just in case, but his support while working through the trace itself made me a little more sure that our results would be accurate. Alright, now just run a who is on the sender's IP, and we should have our answer about where your secret admirer is. It's local. Like, really local. I adjusted my computer screen so that he would be able to see the full results of the who is search. I feel like I'm not saying that right. I'm sorry. I don't know these words. That's on the north edge of town, right? I'm not going crazy? Ross shrugged a bit and stretched his arms up over his head. Yeah, that's all wooded out there. There's not really anything besides the radio tower. I guess it could be coming from there, but the station's been abandoned for years. I don't think it even has power anymore. Someone could still be using it to send this if there's power, though. Tucker, I don't think someone who has to hijack a radio tower to send encrypted messages to total strangers is someone you want to be going and making friends with. Just delete the message and forget about it. What if it has something to do with the hum? If it really is some kind of big conspiracy, an encrypted message might be the only way to get the message across to us. It's still dangerous to go snooping around something like that. Besides, it's late. This could have been on a timer to get sent to you at right this minute, since no one is going and skulking around a place like that at this hour. Why do I feel like Kira has something to do with this? I don't know. She probably doesn't, but that's just like where my mind is going right now, is that she has something to do with this. If you're really dead set on going and checking it out, we can head over there in the morning before school. I hesitated. but they could be gone by then, poised on the top of my tongue. But I could tell by the look Ross was giving me that he wasn't going to let up about this. If I kept pressing the issue, there was a distinct possibility that I might find myself tied up for my own safety until the morning. Kinky. I sighed heavily and shut my laptop's lid. Fine, fine, you're right. It's not a good idea. I'll set my alarm early so we have plenty of time to go in the morning. Not too early, I still need my beauty rest. Speaking of which, we should turn in. Ross pat my shoulder lightly and got up to go grab a few spare blankets and pillows from the closet in the hall. While he was gone, I set my phone to have a silent alarm in a half hour. I would have to hurry if I was going to find out what was going on before my unknown sender got too far away. Are we gonna go by ourselves? Tucker, this is how people get killed. Ross was back rather quickly and helped me get settled before flopping into bed himself. It wasn't long before he was out like a light. Ross had always been one to fall asleep easily, even if he was just as easy to wake up. I waited until I felt my phone buzz in my hand where I was laying before getting up and quietly creeping out of the room. I tossed on a loose hoodie while padding towards the front door. The second my shoes were on, I was out into the mild night air. This is such a bad idea. We're gonna get shanked. I took in a deep breath to keep myself calm before striding off down the street at a brisk pace. I was lucky that the tower wasn't on the complete other side of town, instead just far enough away that the walk would count as a bit of extra exercise. It wasn't too long before I was standing beside the chain link fence that surrounded the radio tower. Danger, radio frequency radiation hazard area, do not enter. We're gonna completely ignore that message, I'm sure. It was a tall, sturdy structure that had clearly been built much more for function than aesthetic, and looked to have a lot more intensity to it than the towers for the local radio station on the other side of town. A building stood beside the base of the tower, and even in the dark, I could tell it was severely run down. I was clearly not the first one to come here if the handful of broken windows and abandoned cans scattered about were anything to go by. I looked at the lock, I'm guessing, that held the fence gate shut over, and quickly realized that there was no way I was going to be able to force it open. That left only one option. I reluctantly scaled the fence and dropped down on the other side of it, thankful of the small mercy that there weren't any sort of extra deterrents on top of the fence. Getting closer, it became abundantly clear that nobody was really coming out to the tower anymore, aside from people using it as a secretive hangout spot. I trotted across the overlong grass that had sprung up through the pavement cracks and stepped up close to the dilapidated building at the base of the tower. I grabbed the front door knob and made an attempt to turn it, but as I should have expected, it was solidly locked. I had to settle instead for peering in one of the busted-out windows. It was hard to see inside, and all I could make out was a small entryway since the proper inside of the building was blocked from view by another wall and door just inside. Unless I was interested in seeing a pile of dead leaves rotting on some cracked and dirty linoleum, there wasn't anything to look at. I was just about to reach in the shattered window to see if there was any way that I could manage to reach the lock and get the door opened when I paused, fingertips hesitating outside the missing pane that felt a little like a gaping maw that hoped to swallow me up if I dared enter the darkness beyond. It sent a shiver up my spine, and I was reminded of the darkness in my room the night before that had harbored that shadowy figure. Given how dark it was inside and how abandoned this place was, it was quite possible that it didn't even have power running to the servers inside in the first place. There was only one way to be sure, though. I quickly reached inside, unlocked the deadbolt, and made my way inside to the nearest server farm. I leaned back against the rack unit and grabbed my phone from my pocket, wincing at the brightness of the screen as it flared to life before firing up the Arc Linux terminal from the home screen. If these servers were exhibiting any activity at all, I should be able to tell from here. I hurriedly reached into my bag, pulled out a USB cable, and plugged into what was labeled Domain Controller. Checking for USB connections, no connections available. As expected, there was nothing to be accessed or even found from my terminal, so it was safe to assume that the servers had either been powered down or rendered completely inoperable some time ago after this place was left abandoned. I pushed a hand through my hair with a sigh. So there really was nothing to be learned here after all. I left back out through the door and ducked around the corner of the building so I could not be spotted if anyone passed by. It would already be troublesome enough to get caught here, so it was best that nobody saw me breaking into buildings as well. Glancing around, I tried to figure out if there was another way to leave without having to scale the fence again when I looked up and realized that there was a platform nearly all the way up the tower above. I looked to the fence again, knowing I should probably leave, but my eyes were once again drawn upward when I caught sight of the power lines coming towards me over the metal barricade. It was possible that there was still power being provided to the transmitter itself, even if the servers down below were in the dark. It had to have been transmitting the message earlier for me to receive it in the first place, after all. I licked my lips and looked at my phone. 11 p.m. With how high up the platform was, it was possible for me to climb up, have a quick look around, climb back down, and walk back to Ross's house again all before midnight. That way I could get just enough sleep to not look like a zombie and let on how I had sneaked out. It was workable, and that was about all I needed. I grit my teeth and circled around the building until I came to the base of the tower, glad to find that the small fence that encircled that was actually unlocked. I slipped inside it and laid a hand on the bottom rung. I'm going to end this episode here because I feel like something is about to happen and we're already getting close to time. But I just want to say real quick, Tucker, what the hell are you doing? This is such a bad idea. So dangerous. You're going to make all your friends mad at you. Like, but anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode and are looking forward to see what happens next time. So don't forget to leave a like on this video, and I'll see y'all next time. Have a great day!